my God, this is so similar to the table I have.
Of course it is. I wouldn't have.
No, I mean, like, we get the flag in there. I've got that too.
Okay, so
Yeah.
I went down, I was like, what I want to do. So like the original attempt was I wanted to put, so it's grouped by country. And what I wanted was the Australian flag next to Australia.
Okay.
And the Austrian flag next to Austria, et cetera, et cetera.
Oh, yeah, I got you. Yeah.
Couldn't get it to work.
Oh, yeah. The reason is because it's like a row group, and it's really hard to like change the content in a row group.
Yeah, so I couldn't target the row group. So that got really frustrating, was I couldn't do that. And then it turns out flags are really hard to work with. And I got very lucky because someone, oh gosh, let me pull up his name so that...
Did you go to the table gallery to get like some pointers?
No.
Because like there's some good flags in those tables. That's okay. You got to the answer. So I'm
So
just saying.
Dr. Liam Bailey, whoever you are, thank you. You are a life.
Sweet.
Like this.
Oh, this is like timely. It just got published. This is fresh.
Just got published, and I was like, "This is what I want."
Yeah.
You know, I want a flag. So anyway, the dreaded table. The dreaded table.
The dreaded table. Oh my God.
This was about a table in an academic paper. It's
Oh yeah, I can see
all
that.
about how much they really like GT. So it was rarely do I find something that is almost verbatim what I'm looking for, but I was able to just like scroll down and be like, where did you put in the flags? Fantastic. So then I learned about the country code package.
Definitely need that.
So yeah, so this saved me, but like we're talking, because I think maybe for context, right? I don't know how much time you spend on, I mean, you work with GT, but I
There's a
usually
bit of time, yeah.
3 or 4 hours on a table, and I spent 3 or 4 hours getting the emoji to work.
Oh, sorry. I didn't know it was that crazy.
No. It's
tough because you have to do a few things. Have the files available, and then you have to like use text transform, and then like the other image function.
Yeah.
And then once you have those 3 things in place, it's not
bad. No. So it was like a huge learning experience. So my whole thing with this table was the scope creep, because I was like, I'm going to do this, and then I'm going to do this. And there were so many different things that I wanted to do with this table that I didn't get to all of them. But yeah, so here's where I left off. And like styling wise, I think it's like not quite there, but it's close.
No, it's really good. I like the title. That's an image, right? Like Eurovision song.
No, that's font.
Oh, that looks so much. Oh yeah, you're right. Because I see the emoji in the middle. That looks so much like the real, like, I'm not real, but like there's a bunch of like Eurovision like logos in my search, and that's really close.
Yeah, so I looked like, what is the font? And then I tried to find it in Google Fonts. And so the closest I could find was something called Rock Salt, which is, let me open my little outline here. I've had to start outlining all of my.
It's a good thing to do. Totally good thing.
Yeah, so Euro, and then I put, because I was like, how can I put a heart in there? And I was like, oh, it's all markdown. So here's where I can use the package. So I'm ultimately like, I'm happy with how far I got, but then this is not finished. I did start down this route, and I swear to God, if it doesn't run, I'm gonna.
What were you planning on doing? Oh, I see what you're doing. You're like.
So.
Ooh, you got some shiny stuff happening. This is a shiny table.
It's a shiny table.
This is awesome. Okay, this is great.
So it's not quite where I want it. Like, this was what I was working on this morning, was like, how can I just get a table that, responds to a couple of different inputs, right?
Yeah, this is brilliant.
But yeah, it was really cool to make, like there's a beautiful in progress GT table that is now responsive to different inputs, which I thought was cool. So
yeah, this is great. Basically, it's like a reporting table, and you can imagine like doing this for anything. Mm-hmm. You just have to have like the framework in place, I guess.
Yeah. And so the code for this wasn't too bad. I started playing with pins. I made a whole bunch of coding things that need to be fixed up. Yeah. Hang on, I got a cat running across literally everything right now. So yeah, I fixed up a bunch of things. I'm not sure this is the most effective way to do it, but I did just take essentially the data table, made it reactive, and then built the GT table
just from that reactive
inside Red
function.
GT. Yeah,
It's not bad. Okay, once you put it that way, it's like 2 or 3 steps, basically, right?
Yeah, so it's basically what you need is you need a data frame that's going to respond to input. So you need a reactive data frame.
Yeah.
And what I basically, this is pretty straightforward. I wanted it to filter the resulting data frame based on the artist country, which is what you're grouped by, and then the rank. So just rank 1, 2, or 3. So set that up as a filter, set that up as a reactive, and then you call it as a reactive data frame before you pipe it into your GT table.
Nice. That's cool.
Yeah, that was something where I was like, I feel like this is easier than it should be.
But this is kind of cool. So you set your choices, and that's cool because you're keeping it safe. You're just like limiting it to like things are there, like 1 to 3.
Yeah. I knew that filtered 1 to 3, and there's different ways you could do this, like with the numeric input. But I was like, let's just use selectize and see what happens. And you don't even have to do a selected to start. You can just kind of right. So you can start with just a blank table. And then I think there's some things that could be done, obviously to clean this up a little bit. This
is cool. They got multi-select. So those are like the countries of like where they held.
So this is any country.
Oh, I see. Being in the host country. Yes, exactly.
No. So this is any country that has had an artist.
Oh, got it. Okay, great. So it has nothing to do with like their winners or not. Yeah, I get it.
So no, there's 2 different things. So your host country is where. Let me explain.
Oh yeah, because rank, of course. Yeah.
Someone who has never seen Eurovision. Here's what I know. So the host country is where the event is.
Yeah.
And so then this is where the artist is from.
Oh, okay, got it. Okay.
So this is why it's kind of confusing with the flags, because it's like, oh, it was held in Austria, and then these are like there's some weird stuff. So basically, Cesar, Conchita, and Udo are all from Austria, but this was the year, and this was
in the event. Yeah, got it. It's tough because like I ran into that exact same thing. Like there's like 2 sets of countries per line. And so you really want to make it like, especially like, just like each one's a year. So like you have to really spell out like, how do you make it so like people don't get like misled into thinking like, this is where the winner's from, and this is where the like the contest was held.
Yeah, so I think there's definitely a clearer way. Like this still needs some work to make it a little bit more clear, like to make it very clear actually as to what you're looking at. But I was pretty happy with how far I got. So,
yeah, it was amazing.
There's no animations.
That's like okay. You still have time.
I can't even find it. I have a piece of paper with like all the things that I was going to do in this table. And so I was going to get these like beautifully styled links that take you to, and I'm pretty sure this is where we're going with yours. Like
no, it's actually tough to have links because like I guess they only go so far back. Maybe they do in the data set. I'm not sure.
Oh.
I don't know if like all the previous like pre-internet, obviously since this thing goes so far back.
That's a good question.
There's pages for all these things.
Yeah, so
maybe that's a dead end anyways.
That was one thing I was like, oh, that's like, I finally decided like adding in links would be my really, really nice to have. So it was like, okay, 1, get the flags, 2, get it in a Shiny app, 3, I wanted, because you can get links to the artist, which I thought was cool, but then from the artist page, you can actually get a YouTube link to their song. And then I was like, oh, that would be really cool. And then I was like, what if you could also embed that somehow in the Shiny app so you could like pull something up?
The coolest thing would be like you hover over like a row and it plays the song.
Oh my gosh.
Wouldn't that be like next level or something? I didn't do it, but I'm just saying like that's an idea. I mean, there's an idea. You just play the song.
Do it, just plays the song.
Yeah.
That would be really cool. So like I feel like also out of all the data sets we've looked at, this was the first one where I was like, there's so many different things you could do with this data set. Like this felt like a really good table data set.
Yeah. Great data set, great table. Who can ask for anything more? Like this is
I feel like whatever you're about to show.
So as you can see, it's a bit long.
Mm-hmm.
There's some stuff in there, but should I just run the whole thing? Just like
let's see it. I want to see what this.
Here we go. It's gonna run. It's gonna appear here. I'll expand this out.
Oh my God.
I know. It's a little bit insane. I got little mini videos, little tiny videos. They're like little GIFs. So, no sound, but still, like, if you had sound, it'd be like a cacophony of sound. Check this out. I didn't go too far back because, like, I wanted to like just, keep them modern.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And I did what you do. I did some video editing. I got some source material, and I just said, okay, let's make these some GIFs. Let's brew some GIFs. So I used GIFski.
Okay.
Manually. I didn't do it in R because I don't want to do more R for that sort of thing. So I just I screen captured a bunch of videos off YouTube. I basically pirated some YouTube. And it was great. The results are awesome. Look at this. You get a feel for like what happened in the final sort of thing. It's really nice. Like, look at all this. It's like, can I zoom in? No, I can't zoom in. Oh well.
Oh yeah. So this is like what you were talking about, where you could get the GIF preview, but then like hover over, and then you get kind of
that'd be like super nice. Like that's pretty cool. And these are really good. They're mostly like the videos from like the final, because like Eurovision hosts all these. For some reason, for this one, I got like the music video, and it's just a naked guy in water, so I wasn't too happy about that.
Wait, no,
I was like,
your header is changing colors. Wait, go back.
Yes. Okay, check this out. It's basically animated. Yeah. So I thought like, get some flash going, like, this is where I started. I was like, playing background. Let's make it animated. Just names of songs. Let's get some video in there. I don't know.
How did you do that? Like, how? All right.
Okay, let me show you. I'll show you some code. Okay, so check this out. So I'm just scoot this off to the side because we've seen enough. Okay, so basically, I get the data. That's just a thing I have in another file. Fine. I have a bunch of. So the logo, I took that from Wikimedia. It's nice because it's an SVG and transparent background. It's nice to have. Okay, so that's what I got there. Okay, so the table. I'll just run through this. I'm going to bring this down here. So I did a ton of like deplattering like beforehand. Yeah, I didn't want to, but I felt like I had to. So check this out. There's a table I got in the end. It's pretty stripped down. But the key thing here is like I have like a whole directory. Maybe you have the same thing. I have like these country flags as SVGs. Where'd you get yours?
Data.world.
Okay, yeah, wherever you got them, like you did what I had to do. I got these on GitHub, just a big old directory full of like these 3x4 flags. And they also have 1x1 versions, but they're SVGs, and like you can totally use them. So I put that directory inside the files folder, like where this lives. I did some weird things like make this all capitalized just to have some differentiation between like the city name and the country name, not because I really like all caps, but it was just like underneath. Yeah. And give it a font. So there's the flags. So I did the same thing. Text transform. Here's the flags. So if I just run this is actually kind of cool. I'm gonna run this by itself. There we go.
Yeah.
Flags. It's in a separate column. Okay. And come here. I'll show you some cool tricks later about how you can like put these together, but preserve like the column name starting here. But anyways, so the videos are actually in a folder. So Eurovision videos. I just made a bunch of GIFs and I call them by the year. Okay. That way I can copy the year to a separate like column and then like change it to have like GIF in the end. Does that even work? How do you even do that? Oh, I know, because I had GIF at the end. Okay, right here. So I didn't have to do anything here. So basically text transform the same way. You can still use local image because like a GIF, even though it's animated, is just an image. So it'll still do its thing. So if I run this just like up to there and I expand it, there they are, sort of in its proto form. And yeah, there's the years. So let's kind of keep going. So I didn't like, for some reason, I didn't like the video being here. So I moved it over. These are just things you do to adjust things. Yeah. So now it's going to be over there on this side and then like tells on the very end. Because I want, like the videos to be there. And then like, this is like left aligned, these titles. I don't know why this is all caps. I think that's a mistake, but.
Or it's the name of the song. It could be.
I think I looked at it in Wikipedia. It was just like toy, like lowercase o, lowercase y. I think it's just like, we just got some bad data here. Sorry. So then I did like this calls merge thing to do the host city and the host country. So that's just like this. You can totally add a line break and then It takes so long because it's videos. You have it like that. Okay, so now we're going to change the column labels. I do this all the time. I'm going to combine that with like the font and making them all caps, just in the interest of saving some time here. So we're getting pretty close. A bunch of options to change colors. And what did I do here? Oh yeah, cell text to be a bit smaller. Okay, we're getting there. There we go. So background color. I wanted to make it like a dark color because, you know, like these happen at night. I want to evoke sort of night. I didn't quite get there because it's not dark enough, but that's okay. I think this is pretty good. It's kind of like a middle ground. Column widths, I set those all because I want to be like super, I want to leave just the right amount of space between each column, like where like the longest word or phrase ends, we have a little bit of space. So it's kind of like super nice that way. Yeah. Okay, and more. Okay, what did I do? Okay, here's a cool thing. See how count, or it's actually country, is like cut off?
Yeah.
Because another column there. So when you size, yeah, exactly. When you size all these columns, things will get cut off because now the table sees that, okay, these are precisely all the widths of each column. We're not going to like mess around anymore. These are going to be the widths. Any text you have, it's going to be cut off. But no, you have a choice. You can like use overflow X visible on that column, country emoji, because that's actually still called, like the column was country emoji. So if you do this, check this out. This is a nice little trick. There's always like a solution, like a way out of your like weird things. So I didn't have to merge those two columns. I just did this. I just sized the columns, and this just peeks over here, which is totally fine because there's no, I took out the column name anyways. See, it's totally gone. Country, there you go. Okay, there's more. I changed the font here. I wanted, these are song titles. So I wanted to be sort of like, you know, scripty because, you know, like you think of like lyrics and writing things. It's kind of like a little more evocative if you have like in a script font. So I changed it from the font in the table to this square peg font in Google Fonts. I made it extra large because this is like a really abnormally small font. Yeah. When it renders, it's like super tiny. It's like, why? Okay, so I just made it X large. Bump that up. Okay, so much more. Padding, which is in the vertical direction. I sort of like tightened things up. So I made it like half the amount of padding. So now it's, even right here, we can sort of see like everything fits. Which is great. You can see Euphoria, which is great. Before you couldn't. Okay, here's the title. I did the thing where I took that SVG, which I stole, or I didn't stole, I borrowed it. I don't know. Anyways, I got an SVG. I'm putting a line break because it sounds like this is going to be HTML right here. And then we're doing some like, I made a div and I put the winners through the years. The reason why I put a div in ID is because I want to change it later in some CSS stuff below, which you can see right here. Okay, so we're getting there. Okay, this will put in that large title. Okay, same background as before, but as you know, it's different in the end. Okay, source note, because I just want to call out that I got this from Tidy Tuesday, and I always want to say like, you know, thank you Tidy Tuesday for providing this data. It's a really amazing thing you're doing. Okay, this is the part that's really tough. Because this is just like messing around with CSS. Yeah. And my process for doing this is I just look at something I don't like. I just do a inspect element. And then like once I'm on the element, and I may not be right on it, I think I am here. But if you're not, you can use this. It's a little bit tricky in RStudio. You sort of like hover around and then find the thing. If you find the background, you can click onto it, then go back to this, and you can like mess around in here with different things like background, for instance, red, and just changes things. Yeah. So once you know the trick to do that, you can really mess around in like these dev tools. And then as long as you have like some sort of ID or way of like knowing what this is, in this case, it's what I do. I put a background on, sorry, where to put it? GT heading. Because, oh geez, if you look here, GT heading is right there, class. Yeah. So I'm like, oh, okay, so that's the way to change it. So basically, I put a table ID as well. It's sort of a good practice to do that. In your GT call, you have an ID argument. If you stick something in there, you can do this. And if you have multiple tables on a page, it won't mess up the other tables. You're just like fixing it to just one table. That's why an ID for a table is good. But yeah, GT heading, and then like I put in the stuff. This I did not invent. I went to a page which is like add like an animated background, you basically pick a few colors, you change the angle a bit. And then there's some like CSS you can copy. So I stuck it in here and made sure I worked with GT heading. And that's it. Well, not that's it, but that's how I did the background being all animated. And then I did a bunch more stuff like, see, I noticed like this is in red where it should be white. So I changed that to white somewhere, right here. The only anchor tag we have, which is basically this, just a color white, text underline position under, that makes the line a little bit lower, yeah. Okay. And then the source note, this whole area, I found it was kind of too scrunched in. So I just add some padding on the top and bottom to compensate. Oh, here's the cool thing you can do. And it's hard to show because, okay, I really want to show you this because it's amazing. Okay, I'm gonna take this out and I'll copy it back in. I want to show you the before and after. Because I found that this was like way too low, this whole title. And that's after just putting like, you know, like the SVG and then like a line break, then this. But you can totally adjust that. And the way I found it is just to inspect elements. Again, doing that trick where you use this right here, because you may not be right on top of the thing. There we go. Div title text, because I add that div with the ID. Once you're on there, you can like mess around with things. And the thing I messed around with was this right here. Well, font size is one thing, but this is an important thing. Padding bottom, that'll push it up. Margin top, if you put a negative number, that'll sort of like push it more up. Like it'll take away the space.
Okay, like the natural space between the two. It's gonna.
Yeah, it's like super weird that it works, but it's a great thing. Essentially, if you look at this right here, see that right here? Mm-hmm. This goes way down.
Yeah.
You can like break through that. You can like move in like a div below that up into that space.
Just by using the negative.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. If you use margin as well. If you use padding, it does not work. Okay. If you use margin, it allows you to use negative values, and you can just like you can rescue your bad formatting. Yeah, there's so many things. But yeah, I did these things, and I even included a margin here for this whole thing, this image. I think that's right. No, hang on. I changed the SVG width right here. That's this. I think image was this right here. I found the flags were, if you took this out, there's some other details here, but like these are like little front end things.
Yeah.
If you're not totally satisfied with the way it looks. I found the flags to be like a little bit too high, like each and every one of them. See how the distance between top and bottom is like a little bit off?
Yeah.
So that's what I did here with this. And these are the only things which are like images. I think it works for these two. These are also images.
Okay, so when you rerun it.
Yeah, let's rerun it again to see. It'll more or less be centered now.
Yep.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah. I was thinking about it. Should I do this? This might take a while. It may not work. I did it with one, and I was like, oh my God, that's so cute. You have a little video in here.